Another edition of MITech TV, and we're bringing back some of the regulars today, including Paul Eisenstein from Headlight News. What is it? Headlight dot news, right?
Right. No.com,
Dot,
headlight.news.
okay, got it. And so, what caught my attention last week is I'm on his Facebook feed, and he was test driving that VW electric microbus, which I'd heard about several years ago, which I think is now available in the US. Is that right?
It finally is. So, yeah, over the decades, how long has it been? 24, 25 years since they last built a version of the microbus here in the US. We have heard people constantly saying, we want one, bring it back. And there have been a few attempts to come up with something that was internal combustion powered. You may recall a really cool concept from, was it 2006, if I remember correctly, called the Bulli, Bulli, but they couldn't come up with it. It couldn't meet emission standards or it couldn't meet crash standards or both. They came up a few years back with a concept called the Buzz. Great name for it. And it really did build buzz. A few months later, they committed to building it. The annoying thing was that they started building it in Europe 2 years ago, but they kept delaying and delaying and delaying the launch here in the US. Well, we finally are about to get it. I got to drive it about, 2 weeks ago, and with very, very few complaints. I think it really is the electrified version of the microbus that people have always wanted.
So the deadheads are going nuts. Is that what I'm to understand about this, Paul?
I will tell you what, when I drove it in San Francisco, an appropriate place for them to do a preview, people were loving it.
Does it have that old school look, feel, and charm to it too?
You might call it a retro futuristic design.
Okay.
It's quite interesting. You look at it, you just know, even before you see the oversized VW logo on the hood, if you can call it a hood, it is a Volkswagen, and you just know in your gut that it's the microbus for today. Uh, is it identical? No, absolutely not. But it does have the rounded look of the more popular microbus. You may remember they redesigned it for the final few years, and it was all square and angular, and people didn't like it nearly as much. This comes as close as you can to the original in the look and feel. But I'll tell you, there's some things about it that are just amazing. For one thing, it is roughly the size, if you know what I mean by a footprint, the exterior dimensions are roughly that of a Volkswagen Passat. So it's a mid-size vehicle. Yet here we go. You ready for this? 156 cubic feet of interior space.
Wow.
3 rows with lots of leg room for all three. It actually has 1 cubic foot more interior space than that absolutely massive Chevrolet Suburban.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is massive. I bought a used Cadillac and I thought that was a big vehicle, but when I pull up next to one of those Suburbans, I'm like a little car, so.
Yeah. And so here you have a mid-size vehicle with a full-size plus interior. The interior itself, it's a cool design. It's sort of Scandinavia meets Germany, if you will. It's got something of a minimalist look to it, but it's very nicely done. There are a couple of complaints. I'd like to see more range than they have. About 235 miles. That's not bad. Most people are going to be able to use it and never need to publicly charge if they have a home charger. The basics of that drivetrain are really nice. It's quick. You have a choice of a 1 or 2 motor system, and the 2 motor, because you get all that really cool instant torque, is quite surprisingly fast. A little under 6 seconds, about 5.5 seconds, 0 to 60. My biggest complaint is they borrowed the window controller, that weird window controller from the Volkswagen ID4 EV, and it's like, why, they only have 2 power up, power down buttons, and a switch that lets you turn it to go from front to back windows. It's like, guys, you have 3 buttons. Give me 4 and don't make me guess whether I'm operating the front or the back.
Hmm.
Silliest thing I've ever seen.
When you said it was the Scandinavia meets Germany, I kind of had this IKEA envisionment there, like we had to kind of assemble it. And now you're making it sound like they did that for the windows. We have to assemble which window we want to
Yeah,
work
yeah.
on.
It's nicer than IKEA. However, since you bring that up, one of the cool things is they're going to have literally scores, and if not in the hundreds, of aftermarket accessories available very, very quickly, a lot of them at launch. And so people who want to use it, much like they used to use the old microbus, to go camping and the like, throw a
Yeah, that was my
mattress in the
question was,
back.
could you go camping in that? Because that was the original intent, but go ahead.
Yeah,
No.
it's like a lot of other soft rotors. Could you take this on a serious back road trail? No. Could you take it on something that's, gravel, a little bit of mud and ruts?
State
Yeah, you
park or
should be able
something.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you'll be able to take it a little bit of overlanding, as they say now, and you'll be able to outfit it so it'll be a comfortable thing to. You wouldn't want to spend perhaps an entire week or two living inside of it, but for a couple days, a little bit of camping or a little bit of off-road excursions, it's going to be absolutely great.
Be nice if it was a hybrid. That would eliminate the range anxiety factor.
Yeah, I think range anxiety is overblown. I have an F-150 Lightning, and I really haven't had to worry about that. There are chargers popping up everywhere. Yeah, if you're going to go into long distance into areas where there aren't a lot of chargers, you may be a little concerned. But Mike, you've reported on it. How many chargers are popping up all over the state of Michigan and how fast? And
Yeah.
by the way, this is an 800-volt system, so it charges very, very quickly. I think you can get an 80% charge in something like 25, 30 minutes. So,
Huh.
it's really enough time to run in and make a pit stop and grab something from the fast food joint.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Terry?
I think that's amazing. When can we expect to see one of these rolling through the People's Republic of Ann Arbor? When's Mike going to have a neighbor having one? That's what we want to know.
That's it, baby. They'll be everywhere here.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
You can place an order already. I believe the first deliveries are going to be a couple of months from now. If you can double check the story online, I just don't remember the top. Now, here's the downside: the pricing is not cheap.
Ugh.
Uh, it will start at about 59,000 for the base. Yeah, the base
Wow.
pros. Uh,
59,000.
However, it is going to be lowered. It's not like the original generation of vans, which were stripped to the gills. VW is not aiming for super high volume on this. So for that money, you'll get a nice power rear drive with the full battery, the 90 odd kilowatt hour battery. You'll even get massaging, cooled, and heated seats in the
Ooh.
base model.
Terry
The
would
top
like the massaging seats. Yeah, they kind of,
Yeah,
as he's burning one going down the road, he can get the massage too, right?
Oh yeah,
perfect.
and it's quite nice. The
Tell
the
me it's
first
self-steering and I'm in. I got 59 grand burning
That's
a
it.
hole in my
Just kick
pocket.
back and let it drive.
the top end, all but fully loaded version, which is called the first edition, will be 69.95,
Oh my
sixty nine nine
God.
ninety five. Now I should point out that you won't be able to get the federal tax credits if you're buying, but you should be able to get a good deal and the tax credits if you go and lease it. So
Really?
that would take it down to the low $50,000 range, plus, of course, delivery fees, which I believe
Let
are
me get a
fifteen
72
hundred
month
fifty
lease, and you're
dollars.
looking at 400 or 500 a month payments or something like that, maybe.
With a lease, yeah, you should be in that range,
Yeah.
maybe in the 500s.
Yeah.
So again, it's not going to be the vehicle for what passes today as the modern hippie crowd, but for those who really want that sort of van, like going electric. And I'll tell you, I think there's quite a few people who will. I think they'll do reasonably well. They're tamping down expectations in terms of sales numbers, and I think that'll work out perfectly.
All right. Well, we're coming to the end, and I know you got a hard stop. So tell people quickly about Headlight.news.
Well, it's one of the premier automotive sites. You'll find news, reviews, features, buying guides, tips on where to get the best deal on a vehicle, and so on.